Hey, welcome back to the Mod Shop. Today I am finally getting a little chance to get out here and do a little bit of messing around. And so one of the projects that I had planned on doing this winter was to replace the alternator in the Impala. It's the alternator that came in it when I found it in the back of the farmer's yard there, and sometimes it charges at 14.5, which is good. Sometimes it doesn't seem to charge at all, and other times I check it and it seems to be charging at like 17.5 or 18 volts, which isn't very good. So you know what, I just decided for the cost of a new alternator, it's like 66 bucks I think I paid for an alternator. I'm gonna I bought a self-exciting single wire Chevy alternator. You can't excite it with the second terminal on the back of it as well, but once it's 1200 RPM, it actually excites itself anyways. So I'm going to put that in and I'm going to see how it works out, because I think that having a better, newer, more reliable alternator is probably the better idea anyways. So with that being said, let's take you through the program here and let's see if we can figure out what's going on. Alright, so this is what I bought. It's an AC Delco alternator. And it does have not just the single wire terminal in the back, but it also does have your 1 and your 2 terminals as well. You can excite from the second terminal back down to the first terminal, but I'm going to try just exciting it with the 12 volt, because otherwise you have to have, 12 volt with the 1200 RPM, because otherwise you have to have a little wire that runs from here to here, and I don't really like the look of that. So I'm going to try to modify that on there and see where that goes. I also found in my collection of junk that I'd stripped out of somebody's car, somebody had built this fancy little heavy duty positive battery cable. I think it was for an amplifier or something. Anyways, it seems to be the right length for me to be able to put it through. I don't know right now whether I'm putting it over directly from the alternator over to the battery terminal, or if I'm going to run it around the back of the motor to kind of keep it clean and get rid of the and just run it right down to the starter and just get rid of some of the wiring and some of the ugliness. Okay, I'll take you over to the car. Okay, so I was doing a bit of testing earlier today, and of course the day that I decided to change it, I'm testing it, and it's testing perfectly at 1463 or something to that effect. So just about right where it kind of needs to be. But anyways, it doesn't matter. I've already decided that I'm changing it out. And besides the fact that this big old ugly 100 amp gaudy thing and all the, I don't know, the shitty bastardized wiring from somebody else who built it way back in the day. So you got some wires sticking off of here and all kinds of stuff. Anyways, I'm hoping to get rid of some of that ugly wiring and put a nice, smaller, newer, self-exciting alternator on there. Alright, we'll set her up and we'll see where we get. Alright, the old one's out. There's a new one. Looks like we have a little bit of modification or fabrication or something here to do. Let's see if I can get a view of it for you. Looks like we got a bit of a gap right there. So I'm going to have to shim it with some washers or something just to make sure that it fits in there properly, and we'll go from there. Show you in a minute. Alright, so in the process of doing this, I discovered that this alternator does not sit far enough forward in the car. So the belt doesn't line up. This one had a 2-ear setup, and the bracket was on the inside here. So that distance is the distance that I need to try to figure out on this single ear. Alright, so in the process of doing that as well, I was also happy when I listened to this one. Hopefully you'll be able to hear it. Sounds pretty rough. And then the new one, can't even hear it. Anyway, other than it hitting my bench. So I am going to put the two of them side by side as such. And I'm going to try to figure out how to get this one to move forward. All right, let you know. Okay, I got it mounted. I had to modify the bracket that attaches to the exhaust manifold. Let's see if I can get you in here. So I had to cut the end out of this right here, this bracket, and slightly modify the bracket at the front. Can you see it? There it is there. Just oblong the holes a little bit so that I could get at least reasonable belt alignment. It's pretty darn close. I think that will probably do. It won't kick the belt off, I don't think. So it tightens up quite nice. I'm not super excited about having to put the bracket on the back side. I kind of like the bolt head sticking out the front, but that's just aesthetics. It's not really a big deal. But I'll probably change that at some point in time. But for right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hook up the wire to the positive terminal there and run it across the front and just over to the battery on that side and test it and see if it works. So I'll use this cable that I got, attach it all, and we will do a test and find out if we have a good amount of voltage. Alright, so I got that wire hooked up to the back. As you can see, the existing alternator wires that were on there are right here and right here. So I'm just going to leave those ones off, as all I've got is one wire, which I will run properly at some point in time, to the battery direct. So right now, battery showing 12.49. I'm going to go fire it up, let it run for a second, then we'll see what changes. And we'll also find out if the generator light comes on. They say the generator light will come on if it isn't hooked up properly, I guess. All right, hang on. I'll get right back to you. I might have something disconnected. All right, one more try. There's a black wire on the side of the battery that I didn't hook up because I didn't think I needed it, but apparently I do. All right, so let's find out what happens. There it goes. All right, running. No generator light. Okay, so switch it. Let's see how we do. Okay, so we got 12.43, same situation, wire hooked up over to there. Just did a little bit of research online and came up with this suggestion. Let's see if I can get in here. Running a trigger wire to the number 2 terminal. So let's see if that works and if that charges. All right, here we go. All right. if get it tight. There we are. Sure enough, charging. That's pretty quiet. I don't mind that. Back. So I got those wires cleaned up. I'm kind of put some nice little copper lugs on the end and made it pretty on the battery. Anyway, ran it across here. Got most of this rat's nest here cleaned up. Anything that didn't need to be there, I trimmed it out. Got all the ends off nicely, so nothing would short out. Just kind of wrapped it up to there. Did get some loom on. I'm going to get more loom for this top section, or the front section up here. But that's basically what happened. And it doesn't look too terribly bad. Still have a little bit of work to do in here, like I said, bit of loom. So anyway, there's the completed look at the back. Looks pretty good. Now, I put the voltage meter back on again. Let's try one more time and let's see if it works. Well, it looks like it's already excited itself, so that's good. Seems to be working. Everything looks nice. I didn't let out the smoke. That's alright. So there you are. I finished putting everything together and it works well. Seems to charge properly, sounds nice. I like it. Job actually didn't turn out to be too bad. A little longer than I thought it was going to be. It probably took me 3.5 hours. That was more just screwing around, trying to make it as right as I can. Anyways, so now all I got to do is deal with the wiring nightmare that's underneath there. I don't think you need to sit and watch me unwrap wires and pull out a bunch of stuff that people have put in there over the last 50 years. Anyways, it's a mess. I'll go play with it for a while, and maybe I'll do a short update as to how it all looks when it's done. Talk to you later.